should definitely watch
I'm
that.
really like after that first one, I'm telling you, like it's changed my mind on like so many
How open you are
on
to it?
all of on the entire genre itself. Because before I was like closed-minded and I didn't want to I didn't give a fuck what it was. If it was scary, I wasn't gonna watch it. But now I'm like, okay, like I'll give them a chance. I'll watch it. I even watch them by myself. Like I don't hide.
So do you guys have any like weird hand specific stories?
I don't know what you
I'm trying to say, I was like, yeah.
Take that however you would like. I don't care. I'm just assuming everybody pictured like the first time they tried to finger bang a chick.
But I can't think of one. I just can't.
Not one that I can like say on camera that you would keep.
I'd keep
Well,
everything.
luckily we're not on camera, so
I remember the first time that I ever did it. I remember it because we ate pizza afterwards, and I didn't wash my hands. And like as we were eating the pizza, you know, I got to the end of it, and I just started like sucking the shit out of my fingers. And I remember I was like, "This pizza tastes like shit." So nothing like that comes to mind.
nothing. Would it count as an injury? Like your hand, like, or like at least your wrist starts cramping up when you jerk it too much? Does that consider as an
I
injury?
figured that would be yours.
Oh. So have you guys ever done so much to where like your thumb just starts hurting?
No.
No. Ah, yeah. Never mind. Me neither.
God damn.
What?
No, me neither.
This dude's missing skin off the top of his dick and shit. Oh god. Speaking of, I'm just kidding.
Good hand stories, fellas. Welcome to the Death Taco Podcast. I'm your host, Chris. And today I'm joined by Francisco and Josh. And today we're going to talk about the 1999 horror film Idle Hands, directed by Rodman Fiender. So you guys you've never seen this before, actually.
No,
Nope.
not until today.
Not until last night.
So this movie is considered a black comedy. Did you guys pick that up?
I've never heard
The term?
the term black comedy.
You know what constitutes a black comedy, right? Movies like kind of like the later Chucky movies, like Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
the Evil Dead movies, for example. Like they're still violent movies, and you know they have horror aspects, but there's definitely like comedy undertones.
Well, the other ones looked at least a little bit creepier. This one was just
I mean,
goofy.
This movie's in like a weird like limbo state, in my opinion. Like it wanted to be comedy, but it still had like serious like horror parts in it. Like you were saying for the intro.
Yeah.
Like if it never quite knew if it wanted to be really scary or if it wanted to be funny.
I loved the intro, by the way.
Intro is fire.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was expecting some terrifying shit. I was like, I bet.
Yeah, the music in the intro, all the like fucking like little clips and shit. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to watch it.
Oh,
on
you're
my
talking
own.
about the fucking opening credits, nigga.
Yeah.
That shit was
Yeah.
terrifying.
That's
Yeah.
what it says. Like that shit looked just satanic
Like-
as fuck.
Because as soon as I seen Seth Green and that other guy, I was like, oh well, it's not gonna be a serious movie. And then I seen that, I was like,
And
oh,
it's like
well,
a
shit.
fucking dude covered in fucking slime and blood and shit. They keep flashing randomly.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was like, well, fuck, maybe not.
Nah, but I looked it up, and on Rotten Tomatoes, from the critics, this motherfucker's got a 15% and an audience rating of 58%. And I kind of get that. Like, do you guys have a vague idea of why the score is like that?
No.
Like I said, critics, I think, would give it like a 15% because it never really knows what it's trying to do. It's very confusing from like a theatrical opinion.
I get that.
And it's kind of goofy. The dialogue's not really great. Like, if you're watching this movie for content, there's not a whole lot there.
Yeah, no, there isn't. It's
And I could see why it'd get the 58% rating because either you saw this when you were younger and you have nostalgia for it like I do, or you either like the violence flat out, or you thought it was funny. But if the humor is not for you, the violence isn't for you, I get why you wouldn't like this.
I liked some of the humor. Not necessarily all of it, but like a pretty good deal of it.
Not gonna lie, I didn't. I tried. I couldn't.
You didn't get any of the jokes.
I know I got the jokes. I was like,
It just didn't fit for you.
They went over his head.
I feel like the main character, he wasn't really, none of his jokes really hit for me.
No.
It was definitely more Seth Green and his boys.
And Jessica Alba, how clueless she was at times. Yeah.
Had you guys ever seen any movies with the main guy in it?
He looked familiar, but I can't put his face to anything.
He was the actor in the Eminem Stan video.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see that now. I didn't even think about that.
And he was in this other movie called SLC Punk. You guys ever seen that? It's got Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, and they both play like air quotes punks.
I seen that movie on Netflix, but I never watched it. Wanted to, but
It's a pretty good one. I recommend it. So, how would you guys describe this movie to give like a synopsis without giving any spoilers?
I'd say it's in my opinion, it's like a scary movie, just less funny.
yeah, that's pretty well rounded, I guess. I don't know if I could add anything to that. Very good at descriptions.
So, you both misunderstood me. By synopsis, I meant tell me what the movie's about without spoiling it.
That's why I let him answer first.
Like, how would you
Yeah,
like?
I
Like, say you're gonna tell somebody to watch this, right? And how would you like describe it to them? Like, they're like, "All right, what's it about?"
This guy's hand fucking goes wild and starts trying to kill people. I can't.
Step up.
That's it.
I
Pretty
was
much
trying not to ruin the movie.
I can't think of something else to say either. That's pretty much it. It's yeah.
All right, so the basic plot of this movie is there's like a dude in the late 90s who's a slacker, complete bum living with his folks. He ends up having people in his local town or neighborhood dying all around him. He doesn't really know why, and he doesn't give a shit. And slowly he realizes that there's something weird happening with his hand. And horror ensues. Is pretty much the gist of the movie.
I like his version of it
Yeah,
better.
I think you should have just answered that.
This guy's hand goes just fucking insane, bro.
See, the way he described it would actually make me want to see the movie. The way you said, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, man. Look, I said I'm not good at descriptions.
You just gave like the plot of a porn. That's what I thought of when you said that. This dude just couldn't control his fucking hand. So we're about to get into spoilers. Really fucking this movie up. So if you haven't seen this, I recommend you going to watch it and then coming back. So the first thing we see is the fucked up intro. While the credits are playing, it's just like really dark. They got creepy ass music, and you keep seeing flashes of like some bloody guy.
Some satanic symbols in there.
And I wonder if that's supposed to be like the demon that's like possessing the guy's hand.
Oh, like as if he's like,
The representation of the actual thing.
yeah.
Because it had like yellow eyes and shit, right?
Yeah, it did.
And you guys said just from the intro, you thought this was going to be like some hardcore horror movie.
Bro, I was excited. I was all like, I read the name. I was like, Idle Hands. I was like, I couldn't think of what it could be of. And I saw the cover. I was like, I still don't know what it could be about. Seen that, I was like, oh. I was like, okay. It's gonna be some scary shit right now.
I seen the intro with all that shit, and I was like, okay, this isn't gonna be the movie that I thought it was gonna be. I went in thinking that it was gonna be something like funny, and then see the intro, and I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't watch this by myself.
It's funny because like, did you guys pick up on the name of the movie and why it's called that and shit? Like the movie's called Idle Hands. The guy says the quote in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, I do. I just don't want to say
yeah.
too much and then spoil it. And all
It's
that.
just funny, one of them things, you know, when I watched it when I was younger, because literally, if this came out in 99, I would have been 8 when I saw this shit. 9. So, like, I don't get, like, the play on names, but I get it now, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's kind of clever. But, so this movie starts with the house in the burbs. It's at night. There's Halloween decorations, so we're supposed to assume it's around Halloween time. And we see an older couple getting ready for bed. And they shut the lights off, and they lay down. And when they lay down, they look up at the ceiling and in glow-in-the-dark paint, it says, "I'm under the bed." Fucking beautiful. And the wife screams. And I thought that was hard as fuck when I seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just,
And for me, that's iconic. Like, I'm always gonna remember like the words "I'm under the bed" on the fucking ceiling, like in that font. This shit's just perfect. Like, that's a legit creepy moment.
Yeah, as I say, like with seeing that intro and then pretty much the opening intro, I was like, oh, so this is gonna be like about whatever we saw right there. So like again, I was still expecting it to be like a pretty good scary movie.
So up until this point, it's a very serious movie still. So the wife screams when she sees I'm under the bed. Husband looks under the bed, but doesn't see shit. So then they're about laying back down, about to chill again, and then they hear a noise downstairs. So the husband gets up to go check it out. And then while the wife is upstairs, she goes to check the attic because apparently they have a son who lives upstairs.
yeah, I thought that was, like at first I was like, there's no way his room is in the attic with the pool downstairs.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's just because she heard something upstairs.
So you thought she was just going to check the attic?
Yeah, because she heard something like move. So I was like, okay, he's not actually up there. She just thinks he's up there. And then, yeah, she goes back to it like again later on.
And before the dad even goes to check downstairs, they have a conversation about their son. And they say his name's Anton. And the dad says this quote. He's like, Anton wouldn't get off his ass if the house was on fire. So they're already talking about this dude being a bum right there. So the wife hears a struggle actually while she's upstairs. So then she goes downstairs after she hears like the sound of this dude kind of like doing like a mini yell, which is bold as fuck.
After she like made him go downstairs to check the noise.
So she goes downstairs and she walks up to this like, how would you describe the fucking two mannequins with the pumpkin heads? They're like two life-size
Farmer looking people with
Yeah.
pumpkin heads.
Almost like scarecrows.
like scarecrows in their fucking living room looking out their front window.
Yeah, I didn't understand why the fuck you would have that inside. Whether it's like most people would put that shit outside, right? So like, I don't know.
It did look cool from the outside of the house though.
It did.
I'll give you that.
So yeah, so it's like two life-size people with pumpkins on their head, but it's decoration. So she goes down and she blows out the candles that are inside these pumpkin heads. And then she turns around and she slips on blood on the floor that's in the kitchen. So then she screams, she runs upstairs, she calls for her son again in the attic like you mentioned. And then she hears a noise in the bedroom. So she runs to the bedroom, grabs the bedside phone. The phone falls on the floor and she goes down to grab it. And when she goes down to grab it, a hand reaches out from under the bed and snatches her ass into the bed. And then the bed starts bouncing and then blood just fucking shoots out from under the bed. And the camera points up to the ceiling and we see I'm under the bed again. I love that whole little like segment.
Yeah, made it seem like a good, like real scary movie.
Like I still get like kind of freaked out watching this as an adult because it's just fucking creepy, bro. Because everybody can relate to like, you know, they tell you as a kid, look under the bed, something under your bed, which is why I slept with a mattress on the floor for a long fucking time, bro.
I still do.
I think we can all agree on that one. That when you're a little kid and all that, and it's nighttime, you're going to sleep, you're just not gonna look under your bed. I've seen enough scary movies to know what's gonna happen.
You take a running, jumping leap onto your bed so that your feet aren't close enough to the opening of the underneath of your bed.
Mm-hmm. My girl still says to this day that she won't like sleep with her feet dangling over the bed and shit. I wonder where the fuck that comes from. There's got to be like some type of lore on that shit.
It's gotta be. I don't sleep with my feet hanging off either.
Bro, I fall asleep with like my waist hanging off, like bent over. Like if I'm just in prison, bro, waiting for somebody. So the next morning we see Anton waking up. And he's in his boxers with a Walkman walking around the house, doing his morning activities, I guess. And he gets out of the attic in a real slick way. Doesn't he just like hold on to some rails and just stands on the stairs and they fall? Did you guys ever have a Walkman?
Like nowadays or in the past?
Back in the day, you guys never had a fucking like cassette player, CD player?
I had the CD player. That shit would like fuck my CDs up, man.
Actually, yeah, I did have both.
I had the tape player too, but the tape player was old as fuck even by the time I had it.
I just had the CD player, and I remember like listening to like a CD a CD like once through and then try to listen to it again, and there's all these scratches and shit. Like trying to walk around with it, you know? Fucking horrible.
But nah, so this dude Anton, he's kind of walking around his crib with boxers and a Walkman. He goes to the kitchen and he yells for his parents that they're out of milk while he's making his cereal. He looks at the dog. He sees the dog bowl's empty. He yells out they need dog food. And then he hops on the couch. He lights some incense up on the coffee table and uses a back scratcher to scratch his nuts and grab the remote. And he turns on the TV and there's a news broadcast about some local murders that have happened in town. And did you guys get that, like, him, like, calling for his parents and shit? Like, is supposed to show that, like, he's not independent at this point. Like, he's still kind of just mooch.
Yeah, definitely.
And he also has a weird fucking asthma inhaler that he's converted into a fucking pipe, right?
Yeah. I thought that was pretty innovative.
Dude's a fucking genius for that. I'll give him props for that one.
And he wears it around his neck like it's a fucking, like, emergency inhaler, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he takes, like, one hit, I think, from the pipe, and then he realizes he hasn't got any bud. So then he rings up his boys on the phone.
I'm just thinking about later on in the movie.
So he calls his boys on the phone, his dealer / friend, and he tells them, you know, if he can bring him some bud. And something his boy says is, "This ain't Domino's, you lazy bitch." So Anton leaves the crib wearing a jacket, still in his boxers with no shoes.
It looked like his mom's slippers.
And then he crawls in through his friend's attic window. They live across the street. And did you ever get these guys' fucking names?
I know one was fucking
Seth Green was Mick.
Mick, and then the other one was
It's a weird fucking name,
Yeah.
guys.
had to be a nickname.
Penub.
Penub. Yeah.
P-N-U-B. I swear to God, I didn't hear that name one time. I thought he was calling him Bug.
So I
No,
don't
I didn't
remember
hear
them calling his name at all.
I didn't hear Bug. I think I heard it like when he went into the basement, but that was it. After that, I didn't hear anybody call him that.
No, and I feel like he says Mick about 30 times after that.
Yeah.
So, like, all throughout these notes, I just keep saying his friend and Mick. His friend, blah, blah, blah. But nah, so he crawls in through the attic window, and they tell him they don't actually have any weed. And Penub tells him to smoke nutmeg and oregano because he hears that it works the same. And I really thought this was a thing for a really long fucking time. And then they kind of, like, have this weird philosophy talk where they're like, what do you plan on doing with your life? And he said his dream life would be to lie around and watch TV while some hot chick brings him food, which sounds beautiful.
It sounds boring.
Sounds boring?
Sounds boring as fuck. Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you on this one, Chris.
Right, bro.
Beautiful.
Nah. Gotta be, I don't know. I'd have to fucking be active in some way. I think I might be just like addicted to work at this point.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
So then while he's in his friend's basement, they talk about the local killers in town, or the local murders. And, or no, they tell him, because he's talking about his dream life, he's still living at his parents' while a chick's bringing him food. And his friends are like, yeah, until your parents throw you out. And that's when he says, I haven't seen my parents in a while. And they start joking around. They're like, well, maybe they're dead. And he seems like really calm about the fact that he hasn't seen his folks for a while.
He didn't even know about the murders, did he?
No, because he
didn't
said
watch
he
the
doesn't
news.
watch the news.
Yeah.
So then after this, Anton sees Jessica Alba. I think her name's Molly in the movie. She's
Yeah.
like riding a scooter or some shit.
It's like a motorcycle. I thought it was
It's
a
like, I
motorcycle.
thought it was like a moped.
She had the fucking leather pants on. God damn.
I didn't even notice the pants.
Dude. Leather pants, red shirt.
I was too distracted by the helmet.
Yeah, I didn't see the helmet.
So his friends gas him up to holler at this chick, and they bring up the high school dance and how he should ask her. And then we learn that Anton doesn't go to school.
Yeah, he hadn't been there in months, he said.
6 months, I think, is what they said.
And then he sees that Molly dropped her lyric book while she's riding her motorcycle, possibly scooter, possible moped. So then he works up the courage to go give her back her book. So he has to borrow some pants and shoes from his boy. And as he's crawling out the window, Penub busts out his fucking secret stash that he was not willing to share, which is kind of fucked up. Like, at least hook him up for a bowl for his pipe.
I mean, I can understand it.
Yeah, I mean, if you gonna be a moocher, hell nah.
Yeah, it seemed like he wasn't going to pay. Like, I don't know.
If he was going to smoke it anyways.
Ain't no freebies around here.
So Anton manages to grab the lyric book from the middle of the street, and then he kind of bullshits outside of the door, procrastinating actually going in. And before he can actually decide, the door opens, and old girl's like, hey, oh my God, you found my lyric book. And he panics and just shoves the shit in her chest and walks off. And she's trying to talk to him as he's like stiff man walking off of the front porch. I've had a couple experiences like this. Have you guys?
No.
Because I was terribly awkward at talking to chicks when I was in school.
Yeah, I was pretty awkward talking to anybody, but I don't know. If I was talked to, I would talk back. Francisco?
Not one that I can think of, no.
Because I can think of times when, like, I'd have boys who'd be like, hey, go talk to that girl. And I'd walk up to him and I'd say something like wily or dumb. And then the female would, like, try to keep the conversation going. And in my head, I was like, I already won. So then I'd turn around and just walk away.
Bro, hit me with one of your best pickup lines from back then.
Oh, man. I never even used pickup lines, bro. It'd always be some really awkward scenario. Like, one time I walked up to this chick and I was like, hey, you got a giant backpack. She was like, oh, thank you. What's your name? And then I left before I could even ask.
My boy.
I'm walking away, bro, with my fist, like, in my chest, like, got him.
Gotta keep them wondering.
Chicks like mystery. So then the next scene is we cut to Beaver, Utah. We're in a prison, and we meet a nun named Debbie. Was it Debbie Lakier?
Yeah. What's he called? Didn't he call her Debbie Liquor or some shit?
Yeah, because there's a prison guard. He's like, Miss Debbie Liquor? And she's like, it's Lakier. And the sheriff walks her to a prison cell with some creepy looking dude who's got like a fucked up looking hand. And as soon as the nun sees his hand, she goes, shit. And she dips out. And as she's walking away from the prison, she took a nun uniform off. So she wasn't really a nun, right?
No.
Nope.
And so she walks out of the prison and goes up to an RV. And when she goes inside the RV, it's fucking all like, the walls are covered in news articles and shit. And apparently she's tracking somebody. And she goes up to a map and she starts connecting dots. And it forms the shape of a pentagram. Seems questionable. Would you guys ever like be curious enough to like actually, or is that, I don't know, that's a weird reference. Like the whole thing where you're like cutting news articles and putting them on your walls and shit. Because we never really saw newspapers.
No, we didn't. Like that, and like I've never understood how people like connect the dots like that. Like I get that, like for serial murderers and shit, they tend to stick to the same kind of like
pattern.
The same patterns and shit. So I get how you can connect them, but I don't know. It's not like there were like patterns with these murders in the movies. So I didn't understand like how she could connect it all.
Right, and like just maps in general are confusing as shit. Like, how would you know the exact address? Like, you could guess like a whole county, maybe. You can see a county, maybe even like a specific couple blocks. But to be like actually pinpoint where something happened in a fucking map, I would imagine it's difficult. Would you guys be able to read maps?
Fuck no.
I feel like I would.
How would you feel like that? Like, in what situation have you ever had to read a map with no markings?
Back then, especially with the family and all that, when we'd go to other states, we never used GPS. We'd always use an atlas. So, and I was always the one pretty much looking at the map. So I know how to use one.
So you're kind of like Dora.
Pretty much.
My God.
More like Diego.
It's more of a Boots kind of guy.
I prefer to be called Diego instead of Dora or Boots. No?
Sounds like Swiper now.
So then the next scene is Anton in like a back alleyway pushing a shopping cart through some fucking fog. So he jacks the shopping cart. Because you can't take shopping carts, right?
Yeah, bro. That shit annoyed the fuck out of me.
Like, as a former cart pusher, along with, hell, all of us were.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were. Dream team.
So while he's pushing this shopping cart, he gets tackled. And it's by cops. And the cops are going to harass him because that's what happened in 1999. And it turns out that these cops used to go to school with Anton. And I guess they used to pick on him. Or he used to pick on the cops.
He would leave them out from smoking.
Yeah, pretty much what they were trying to portray is that everybody picked on both of those cops.
So the cops were like losers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Anton was just that nigga.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was younger than them. They were like fucking seniors when he was a freshman or some shit.
Oh yeah, they did
So
mention
wanting
that.
to hang out with the freshmen when you're a senior. Goddamn.
So they frisk Anton and they take $1 out of his pocket and they find an empty sack and they give him a ticket for littering for $200. And the pants weren't even his; they were his boys.
Because for some reason he didn't change into his own clothes when he went home.
Exactly.
Eh.
So Anton goes back home and he uses the ticket that the cops gave him to roll a joint, and he's got the spices right in front of him that says nutmeg and oregano. So my man actually tries to roll himself a joint of nutmeg and oregano, and he lets his dog lick the papers to fucking seal it
But and he tried to wrap it with the cop ticket too. Did you notice that?
with the cop ticket. I was more distracted by him using his dog's spit.
Yeah, that seemed fucking disgusting.
So right before he smokes it, he hears a noise in the house. So he mutes the TV and he puts his hand over his dog's mouth and he's kind of looking left to right. And then he says, fuck it, and turns the TV back on. I feel like I've done this a lot. Like where you mute the TV and you just kind of listen for like a minute.
I do that like every night.
It's that paranoia in you, huh?
Yeah, I'd be like, if there's somebody in here, I'm just dead. So, fuck it.
Then I'm kind of, I just turn the TV on and turn it back up louder. Yeah. Fuck them.
Move around a little bit more. Like, let them know that you don't give a shit.
Just start jerking off. What movie did we watch where somebody was like, oh no, I watched this movie. You guys ever seen Creepshow?
No.
I feel like I have.
No, well, there's this part in it where there's this like really wealthy family and they got like their own private cemetery, and they start burying people out behind their house. This has nothing to do with the movie, but I was just thinking like if we all ever got rich enough to where like we could like have our own private cemetery, I'd want to be buried outside of like one of your guys' windows, like directly like outside of your windows, right? Like I want my headstone like right fucking there outside that window, but like to your bedroom.
Chris, I love you and all, but that's a hard pass from me.
Listen, I'm saying though, like, because what if there's rules, right, to where like you're trapped like around the gravesite and I can't do anything but just like hang out within 6 feet of my headstone? So like, I'm not saying I'd come into your room, but I just want the option to be able to stand at the window and watch TV with you. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you're ever about to like fucking do some damage, probably watch half the time. If you're by yourself, if it's a solo move, I'd look away. Oh, Josh is getting the sock.
Oh, shit. I'm guessing you use socks too?
No.
Oh, well, fuck.
So this is going to be edited out, but I use towels. Denise hates it. That's like a running joke. You bring it up at any second. I'm shocked she hasn't said it yet at this point.
Why not fucking paper towels? Like, it has to be an actual towel.
Like a full towel I just ruined.
Full fucking. He goes, grabs a fucking beach towel, lays it down. That just sounds lazy.
Like
You're
the
laying on
fancy
half
ones,
of it. You're laying on half of it. That way you don't have to aim.
Just wrap myself up in it completely, bro. Just don't take it off.
Oh, not gonna lie, I've been taking some notes while you guys are talking about this. I'm gonna have to try that out. Sounds life changing, Chris.
So Anton sparks the Frankenstein joint, and he instantly starts to cough out his soul. And then he runs to the sink, he starts putting his mouth under the faucet and squirting dish soap into his mouth. And then he starts making himself a sandwich while he's watching some music video. I'm assuming it's MTV.
Yeah, most definitely.
So while he's making this sandwich, he's got the bread, he's got the bologna, and he pulls out some mayo and a giant fucking butcher knife to get the mayo out, because that's what people do with butcher knives. But he doesn't notice that the butcher knife has fucking blood over half of it. Very fresh blood, mind you. Which that shit would be, I guess, I don't know. We don't know what blood looks like on a fucking knife.
I don't think it was fresh because it was like stuck on there. Like it. I think the only time that it wiped off the knife was when he like brushed it against the bread.
Because he spreads the mayo on a bun, or on bread, and the blood gets on the bread. So he closes his sandwich, and he takes a bite out of it, and as he puts the knife back in the mayo, that's when he notices the blood, and he spits the shit out. And then he, this is where I thought the acting was kind of funky, because remember, it like pans in on his face, and he's like, oh shit, the killer's in my house. Just like that. Like word for word, that's exactly what he said and did. And the next scene is where he's like pushing his dog into rooms before him, because his dog looks terrified too.
Yeah. Drags him up the stairs and shit.
Oh, and he notices his cat's on the floor eating a fucking, licking an eyeball. All at this time. So I think this is showing like how little this dude actually pays attention to fucking anything. Because he doesn't notice the eyeball just chilling in the middle of his floor. And in a couple of minutes, we're going to realize all the shit he's actually missed that's happening in his house. So he's pushing his dog around rooms, and he's about to get to the front door. And right when he gets to the front door, he sees a shadow in the window right next to the door. So he freaks out, and he runs upstairs. The dog follows him, and they both hide under the blankets. So then while he's on his parents' bed, because he ran to his parents' room for some reason.
I mean, you don't want to like pull down the attic thing. Have to run up there, close it.
Would that not be the perfect place to hide?
Would that not? Yeah, for him or the killer.
True, but his bedroom. It's his fucking bedroom in the attic. Why would he be afraid of the attic?
Because what if the killer's hiding up there? It seems like a better spot to hide than in the regular part of the house.
So he's wrapped up in his parents' blankets, and as he starts to unwrap himself, that's when he looks up at the ceiling and he sees, I'm under the bed. I can't remember. How does he react when he sees that?
He just freaks out.
Starts screaming.
Yeah.
Runs down.
Oh, yeah, okay. So after he sees I'm under the bed, he runs downstairs and he accidentally knocks over the fucking life-size jack-o'-lanterns we were talking about. And he's on the floor, and he's laying right in between his two parents' bodies, which have been put into the fucking jack-o'-lanterns for hiding. So then he walks outside, and does he throw up?
Yeah, he throws up in the bushes.
He throws up in the bushes, and then his boy, Mick and Penub walk up on him. So he brings them inside the house. He's like, hey, you guys got to see this. And his boys walk past his parents' dead bodies towards the TV, and they start dancing to some fucking rap music. Or some rap video.
Oh, yeah.
I think the song was called Pop That Booty. So Anton turns off the TV and points him towards his parents, and then they both start to fucking flip out also, which would be very uncomfortable. And I think Penub, like, jumps on the fucking dad and starts punching at his chest, saying he's trying to do CPR on him.
Yeah, he said he's seen it on Baywatch.
And then I think Mick, like, sees a piece of, like, shirt fabric in the mom's hand, so he snatches it. And Anton sees the word ant in, like, the corner of the room painted in blood. And then they start brainstorming out loud, and they start thinking, maybe they were killed by ants. Or, like, an evil ant.
Yeah, what did he say? How did it start? He's like, they probably got killed by a whole bunch of ants. And then Seth Green responds, he's like, you fucking stupid. He's like, something like that couldn't happen. Probably was some giant ant that did it.
And after this, they see a bag of onion rings on the floor with 2 ears outside of it. And they kind of, I don't know how the fuck they connected that it's 2 left ears, so it belonged to the twins that the news had been talking about.
Oh, because they were laying on the ground, like, in the same direction as each other.
Right, but how would you automatically assume, like, obviously it's the twins' ears?
They worked at a fast food restaurant. So,
Oh,
it came
okay,
out
so
of
that's
the fast
how.
food bag. Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So right after this, that's when Mick realizes that Anton's got a missing piece of his shirt that matches the fabric that he found in his mom's hand. And then he says something like, the killer was wearing your shirt. And then Anton puts his hands up because he has glow-in-the-dark paint on his fucking hands. And he's like, the killer was wearing me. And at that moment, they all kind of just immediately go, oh shit, you're the fucking killer. Now, can we talk about all this shit this dude didn't notice in his fucking crib? The fucking earrings, blood on the floor, his fucking parents' corpses, 5 feet from him.
Bro, and the fucking parents' bodies looked like they were already
Rotting?
rotting.
Yeah.
So, like, the smell, didn't notice that shit at all.
That's probably going to be the one that I noticed the most. Was the dead bodies.
So, say you guys walk in, right? And there's just bodies all over, like one of your boys' crib. How do you go forward?
I'm making sure I'm not next. So I'm hitting him. If he's standing next to me, I'm swinging.
Just going to be like, my throat's a little dry. I'm going to go to the gas station real quick.
Yeah, I'd probably just dip. I'd just plead the fifth. I'd be like, fuck. Wasn't here. Didn't see shit. Leave me alone.
sticking by swinging, dude. I'm making sure that I'm not next.
You're just murking anybody.
Yeah. If it's his house, I'm assuming it's him. And if he's next to me, I'm making sure I'm getting a clean getaway. Swinging as hard as I can.
I know who not to call. So Mick starts trying to call the cops from the kitchen. And as he's talking to the cops, Anton runs up and he tears the fucking phone out of the wall. And then he's trying to explain to Mick, like, hey, I didn't do nothing. I don't know what happened. And Mick opens the fridge door to try to put some distance between him. And he pulls a beer bottle out of the fucking fridge. And he's like, here, have a drink. I think, right?
Yeah.
So Anton snatches the beer from him, breaks it on the counter. And then we just hear a scream. And the next shot is Mick walking out of the kitchen with half of the beer bottle sticking out of his forehead. So then he falls forward, and Penub sees him, and I think he's hitting a bull, right?
So about this time, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of feeling like it was a stoner movie a little bit too.
I think that's a fair way to describe it.
Some of the humor, yeah.
It's definitely stoner comedy, but I think that's what a lot of the 90s was. So after Mick falls from the kitchen, Anton's standing behind him, and he's like, oh shit, like confused as hell about what just happened. And I thought this whole little sequence right here with Mick and Penub was kind of weird because I feel like this nigga played really fucking dumb.
Who, Penub?
No, Anton. Like he's kind of, I think this is the most like out of character he was the whole movie. Like he seems like really flustered and just not sure of what's happening as he's watching like his hand do this shit.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, he's, like, really confused, like, when he's trying to explain to dude not to call the cops and shit. Like, you're walking up to him. His hand wasn't making him do shit at that point. So he approaches Penub, who's obviously terrified at this point. And then Anton's hand, like, slowly starts to raise up on his own, and the camera zooms in on the hand. And it's, like, doing some weird-ass movements. So it's kind of at this point that we start to understand it's specifically his left hand, right?
It was his right hand.
No shit?
I don't think that makes a difference, but
It was his right hand.
I can't remember.
Like, you would assume that it's the left hand because people call it the devil's hand, right?
Why do they call it the devil's hand?
I don't fucking know. 'Cause
You
they're
jerk off
assholes.
with it?
Look, man, I switch up, man. You got to keep them even.
Do you really switch up?
You have to.
Why do you have to?
You got to keep them even. Don't judge me.
Are you being serious right now?
Yeah,
Do you switch?
No.
I don't.
I'm all about consistency, dude.
It's such an interesting concept. But you're already left-handed, right?
Don't judge me, dude.
I just have so many questions now. So it doesn't matter which hand. Doesn't feel weird?
No.
And you use socks. We learned a lot about you just now, dog.
At least it's not towels.
You're gonna try to make sure you get in as many like sound bites of it. You're like, you can't edit them all out, Chris. At the very end of it, he's just gonna be like, towels. So Anton's hand like slowly raises up as if it's got some type of mind of its own. And Penub's about to walk out the front door, but his hand like launches itself at the front door and shuts it. And at this point, Anton chases Penub into the basement and he shuts the door behind him. And Anton's telling him like, hey, you can't get out that way, man. So he punches through the door, unlocks it, and he starts to follow him downstairs. And I think, what does he pick up? Like a screwdriver or some shit? Something sharp?
It was a screwdriver.
And he kind of like, he's trying to plead his case, like something's wrong with my hand, I don't know what's happening. And he's trying to tell him, go ahead and get out. He like strikes at him and misses, so Penub starts running up the stairs. So then Anton picks up like a circular saw. And as Penub's running up the stairs, he's saying like, I'm not going to tell anybody, you'll be okay, or something like that. And then Anton chucks the fucking circular saw and cuts Penub's head, or it goes right through Penub's neck. And as he goes through his neck, Penub is saying, everything's going to be... And he pauses because that's when the saw passes through his fucking neck. And his head falls off his body, rolls down the stairs to Anton's feet. And as they get to his feet, that's when he goes, cool. That whole like sequence is forever etched into my head. Like when I think of this movie. The intro with the parents and then this part. So, do you guys like? What do you think of like just the effects?
I was saying on that one actually, it wasn't that bad. I liked it. I gave it a little bit more of a actual creepy feeling, if you can even call it that.
I agree.
Like I said, I think it's weird how like they would go from like the stoner humor and then out of nowhere just the violence gets like legit. But I mean, I guess like that's why I kind of liked it.
It was a kind of a balance there, in a way.
Like it was like over the top goofy on a little bit, and then it get over the top violent out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So then after this, Anton walks around the house like all shell shocked and shit, holding his hand, confused about what's happening. And it's at this point, I think, where the actor kind of like gets really fucking challenged because he has to do like some wily fucking shit with his hands. Because remember, he sits down and he starts trying to watch TV. Or no, he's just sitting there actually, and his like possessed hand grabs the remote and puts it on the hand channel,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where it's nothing but like hands coming out of the fucking cemetery or something.
It's like hands dancing around a lady, showing her hands.
Yeah.
Shit was crazy.
So then, like, there's this sequence where he's trying to like snatch the remote from his hands and put it on a cartoon channel. Like I said, he's just wrestling with his own hand for the fucking remote. And then he eventually gets the remote and puts it on whatever channel he wants to get. So then you can kind of see his hand, like, the fingers tapping, like if they're irritated, kind of like flexing. And then it grabs his fucking cat by the tail, starts spinning his cat around his fucking head, and chucks it out the window. And it goes all the way across the street. So then Anton has to go outside, and he goes across the street because, of course, the cat landed in Molly's bushes. So as he's looking for the cat, I think Molly comes outside, right? And did you guys catch that before he actually like acknowledges her, you hear the cat purr?
I didn't hear
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So like I think the movie wanted to let you know like the cat didn't die. It's okay.
No
Yeah.
animals were harmed in the making of
That's literally I think what that's supposed to show. Because you hear the cat even for half a second. Because imagine if they had just cut the old girl. There's some niggas who are gonna be like, but what about the cat? I'm not a cat dude, so I give no fucks.
I was worried about the cat.
You were worried about the cat until you saw Jessica Alba in her fucking PJs
Yes.
with a robe, baby shorts.
Yes.
Wasn't she wearing like half a shirt?
I think so, yeah.
And all he says when he sees her is he says, "Sorry about your bush." There was a lot of bush jokes in that little part.
Yeah.
So then she invites him in, even though he's kind of like, he's acting really awkward and kind of trying to get away.
He's got blood on his shirt.
Oh yeah, he tries to tell her no, but she says, "Do you want to come in?" And his hand has him by his like face. So like the palm's over his mouth. So he's saying no, but the hand shakes his head fucking yes. So then she takes him to her room. And as soon as they get into the room, he just starts gassing up her music. Because he's like, yo, your music's hella dope. And what her book was pretty much was like a scrapbook with like magazine words cut out to make like lyrics. And then he reads off like a fucking...
Yeah, he was all like, I was like, oh, one of my favorite ones too. Oh, because at first she's like, you read my lyric book? Like all upset and all that. He's like, yeah. And then it's like, this is my favorite one. Then he starts rehearsing whatever she wrote.
like if she was saying some like real shit. Nonsense. But you know what? For that cat, fuck it. She could have had a nursery rhyme on that bitch and I'd have gassed her up.
I think we all agree on that one.
Yeah.
Jessica Alba.
And she eats it up. She loves it. So he made the right call. So while she's like, she has her back to him and she's fucking around with something, he's behind her. His hand picks up a fucking knife and he has to like squeeze the hand to get it to drop the fucking knife. So he's still like trying to talk his way out of the room. And she's kind of like getting distracted, talking to him, turning around. And at one point, you just see his hand cocked back and he just gets a whole fucking handful of butt cheek. Just grabs the shit out of it, squeezes. And this is his possessed hand, right?
Yeah.
And low key, once again, the hand comes through in the clutch because that's what she wanted.
Yeah, her reaction definitely kind of like... It surprised me, but at the same time, it didn't. Like, I seen it, like, going, like, either way. Either she was going to be mad about it or she was going to be happy about it. And she was happy.
Do you think this is a 2020 move?
Fuck no. Not anymore.
Nope.
You wouldn't try it?
Definitely not now.
But like, say you're in the chick's bedroom.
I'd say even then it's still questionable. Like unless you like actually know her, because he didn't like they never talked before. Mm-hmm. They had only seen each other in passing, so even then, still quite.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't try it either.
Actually thinking about it right now.
He's like, I've done this several times.
It'd be different if they was just in the living room, but she straight up took him to her bedroom.
That's right. You're in the bedroom, man. I feel like you're already like 90% of the way there.
Yeah, pretty much. You already know what's gonna go down.
Still on the fence of like having the cops called on me. You just never know now, man.
I tell him she sat on the hand. Officer, she just sat on it like a fucking madman. So immediately after, he gets a whole handful of butt cheek, she turns around and just starts making out with him. And while they're like laying down on the bed making out, his hand's like off to the side and keeps like going back to her throat, trying to strangle her, I'm assuming. So eventually he has to bite his fucking hand to get it off of her neck. And then he gets the idea to like tie his hand to the bedpost. And she just thinks it's kinky as shit. So the hand again coming for the dub. And then after this part, I guess like there's a little time jump. And they're both still just laying in bed, kind of cuddling, and her parents get home. And she makes the comment, she's like, I don't think my parents would appreciate the bloody neighbor kid that's banging their daughter being here right now. So we know he hit, which was glorious.
Also know that she noticed the blood on his shirt and didn't say anything about it until then.
Listen. If Jessica Alba knocks on your front door, bro, showered in fucking blood like Carrie, you still got to do what you got to do.
This is true. But it wasn't her covered in blood.
She was obviously looking forward to this penis.
Yeah, that's true.
And before this even though, we see Nurse Lakir speeding on the highway, probably towards Anton's house. Just like a little segment of her fucking whipping the RV on the highway. So after Anton and Molly bang, they agree that they're going to go to the dance together the next day. So after this, Anton returns back to his house and he buries his parents and his boys in the backyard. That might have been where I thought of this.
Yeah, he did.
Getting buried.
Yeah.
Again, so there's still nobody's doing it. Nobody's doing it.
I love you, Chris, but that's a no.
Why not? What's the worst that's going to happen?
Fucking Pet Cemetery type shit.
Pretty much.
Like I'm just going to come back and just be a completely different person?
Yeah, come back, try to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
No way, man. I would just jerk off all over your towels.
That's still a no. That's still a loss, man. Constantly washing towels. Fuck.
Maybe you don't have to wash off ghost semen, though. Like, maybe only other ghosts can see it.
You would have one designated towel. You keep that shit outside.
Bury me with the towel, bro. Like, what's the towel for? Don't worry about it. So Anton gives a eulogy for his parents and for his friends. And he starts to like admit his faults to his parents, that he's kind of a bum. And he says that he'll try to change. And his hand's still kind of like fidgeting. I think he has it like tied up like on a sling around his neck at this point. And he kind of says out loud while he's giving the eulogy for his friends, he's like, I'm going to miss all the times that we, and he kind of doesn't have anything to say. And he's like, I guess we didn't really do nothing. So that's like a little bit of character growth right there. Like he realized, that he didn't do a whole lot and he wanted to be a better person. So after this, he starts to hear noises from under the ground. And it ends up being that Mick's talking to him from fucking while buried. And he says that he was just knocked out. To which Anton kind of like nods his head like, it's possible. Even though he stuck a fucking beer bottle in dude's dome. So before he does anything, he rolls over when he's about to hit his fucking asthma pipe. I don't know what to call that. Is that a good word? Or inhaler pipe?
Yeah, that's good.
Asthma pipe. And then hands reach out from under him, from under the earth, and they start grabbing at him. So then he rolls off and gets up, and we see Mick rise from the dirt like a zombie. And then he's about to grab the shovel to defend himself, but before he can do that, Penub's body fucking comes up. The hands come up and grab the shovel first. So Anton's backing up, now he's about to be surrounded by zombies. And he's about to step on Penub's head that tells him, hey, watch it. I can't remember what he said.
I think that's exactly what he said.
So once he notices Penub's head, then he gets knocked out by the shovel. That actually felt like a serious moment. Like it wasn't filmed like funny at all. Except for the part where he almost stepped on Penub's head.
I don't know. By then, I don't think I was able to take this movie serious at all after seeing everything.
So he wakes up the next morning in his own bed, right? And then he goes downstairs and he thinks it was all a dream. And he even hears Mick and Penup bullshitting in the living room. So he's like, okay, yeah, it was all a dream. But as soon as he whips to the right angle, he sees Mick still got the bottle in his head and Penup's still missing his fucking head. What'd you guys think of the effects for Penup's head? I thought it was pretty decent.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, at no point was I like, it looks weird or it looks off. Like, it looks like his fucking head's just sitting on the couch talking.
Yeah.
So, like I said, whenever his friends came back came out of the ground, like, they looked serious. So I wasn't sure, like, if they were gonna be evil, zombies, just something. Like, they didn't look like themselves during that part.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a whole part of being killed by the hand is like everybody that it killed came back.
Like on some Pet Cemetery shit, right?
Yeah, so I was expecting his parents to come back. And then the twins and all that shit. But
like I said, but once he has this conversation with them, at this point, they're actually pretty casual and act just like they did fucking before they died. Yeah, so his friends are bullshitting, being casual with him, and he's asking them, like, why are you guys still here? And Mick says that they saw bright lights and that there was music playing, but that the lights were too far away, so they said fuck it and turned around. That's exactly why I'd be outside your window.
yeah, they said it was music. It was boring music, too. Music that they didn't like.
So then it's at this point they notice that he's still kind of fucking around with his hand. And they're like, so I gotta ask, what the fuck's up with your hand? And he tries to ask him, like, do you guys know anything about, like, Satan or evil or anything? And his boys are like, why would we know anything? We're not bad people. But then they mention, like, we know a guy who does. And it ends up being Anton's neighbor, Randy, whose entire character revolves around him having a big truck. So the next shot, this dude, Randy, he's at, like, a burger joint where the twins died in their town. The Finkelstein twins?
I think so, yeah.
I don't remember the name at all.
And there's some, like, chick mourning over, like, a memorial that's there for him. So this dude, Randy, just creeps up on her. And he just starts spitting game at this girl.
Remember he asked her, he was like, did you know them? She said, no, not really. And I just had the thought, it was like this is definitely, like, a lot of people, like, nowadays. You don't really know somebody, but you show up to their funeral crying.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
Definitely feels insincere sometimes.
A lot of time.
Yep.
Actually, it's worse because with Facebook nowadays.
Yeah, holy shit.
That's a lot more of a thing. Like, somebody you knew, like a friend of a friend or a friend dies, then all of a sudden you gotta write a post. And so, yeah, this dude, he spits game at the chick at the fucking memorial. And doesn't she say, you were talking about it a second ago, that she didn't know the twins that well, but they had asked if they could both date her, and she was like, but I'm just one person, so I told them to go blow each other. And my boy Randy, did they?
You think they did? It's like, Jesus.
So after this, Anton walks up on him from the background. You can still see that he's fucking with his hand. So he walks up on Randy, and he pretty much cock blocks. But even though I don't think it was really working out for him, because the chick was already giving him weird ass looks. So Randy turns around, the girl's gone. And I always remember this line he says when he turns around, because he's mad now that the girl's gone. He's like, not cool, Anton. I thought we were buds. And then he just walks off, went back to his truck, and he was going to go through the drive-thru. So this was kind of like MacGyver-y on Anton's part when he fucking runs past the memorial and he takes one of the twins' fucking uniforms, puts on the vest, puts on the hat, runs through the fast food joint and goes to the drive-thru, tells the drive-thru guy, hey, it's your break time. And now he's just working there now. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Take notes, Francisco. And so he's talking to the dude through the drive-thru machine as he's trying to order his fucking food. And he starts asking him, he's like, tell me what you know about the devil. Some shit like that, I think, right?
Yeah.
And that's when the truck comes around now. He's up at the window and he's like talking directly to this dude. And he's like, there's something wrong with my hand. It keeps making me do these things. And Randy takes it in a metaphorical sense. He's like, my hands used to make me do stuff all the time I didn't want to do either, man. That's why I work on the Ford. Keep him busy. And that's when he says the line, Idle hands are the devil's playground. Have you guys ever heard that saying before?
Yeah.
No.
Where'd you heard it?
Fuck. I don't remember. Actually. Might have been another movie saying it.
Something like that. Because that's more or less what it's a commentary on, right? The fact that he was lazy. So people in general, if you're lazy, then you're going to start doing bad shit, I guess. Is that a stretch?
Yeah, that might be a little bit of a stretch.
I don't get it. Like, how do you connect those two? Why does the devil hate lazy people?
I don't think it's more of the devil hating lazy people. I think it's more because something I've heard like my whole life too is God doesn't like lazy people. This and this, blah blah. So that's more going towards the devil's side. So the devil likes you more. He's like, I can take advantage of you more, type of thing.
But I forgot. So before Anton even has this conversation with Randy, he's like looking all around the kitchen once he gets in there, and he sees all the different like murder possibilities, like the oil, the knives, the fucking everything. And even while he's talking to Randy at one point, he like picks up a knife and chucks it at the fucking manager, I think.
Oh yeah, and it goes past his head. Like sticks his hand in the beef.
Yeah, he's like mashing the beef up to keep it busy. So Randy's advice to Anton is keep your hand busy. So Anton takes it literally and he starts knitting. So the next scene, he's back at home with Mick and Penub and he's just fucking knitting away. So while Anton's knitting and they're sitting in the living room, they're watching Dragula play in his living room. That was that song I was talking about. Remember in House of a Thousand Corpses, we were talking about Rob Zombie?
Uh-huh.
And that was his song while they were knitting.
Oh, was it?
That song is fucking hard, bro.
Yeah, it used to be on the 98.9 all the time.
Dragula. So that's when, while he's knitting, his boys try to explain to him, like, that saying's not literal, bro. Just because your fucking hands are busy doesn't mean you're actually doing something. So after this, we get a shot of the outside, and the cops from earlier pull up in their cruiser because of a noise complaint. So they sneak up to his windows, and they look inside, and they see Anton fucking sitting on the couch surrounded by corpses. And they figure like, ah, shit, Anton's the killer. And one of them's like, we should get some backup. And the other one's like, nah, fuck that. We're going to do it and get all the credit ourselves, which is fucking stupid. So the cops kick in the door and they tell Anton to freeze. So he stands up from the couch and he puts the sewing needles up over his head. So he doesn't want to stop keeping his hands busy. And the cops they got guns pointed at him. And then I think Penub says something. So one of the cops fucking just points the gun at him and just dome pieces him in the fucking head. And after this, Mick and Penub are pretty much just like, you know what, man? Fuck it. Shoot, kill him, bro. Just take him out. And then there's this like scene where the cops are trying to cuff Anton. And they're like, all right, we'll do it, but you got to put the needles down. So they're yelling back and forth, put the needles down. And he's like, cuff me, put the needles down. And it's just back and forth. Until the cop gets close enough to where Anton's hand pulls one of the needles down and shoves the motherfucker right through the cop's ear.
Oh, that was pretty iconic. Right
That was brutal. And then he spins the cop around and uses him as a shield. Grabs the taser out of his fucking, out of his belt. Tases the other cop in the fucking face. You know what I just thought about? Why would his other hand hold the cop while he turned him around so the other one could use the taser?
That's what I was thinking at this point too. That and like it's his hand. So how the fuck is his hand making him like walk all over the place? Like I can understand like when he's asleep, like maybe the hand has more control when he's asleep and
When
shit.
he's dormant.
Yeah. But when he's awake, like it's making him fucking chase Penub down the stairs and
Like if he really wanted to, he could just be dead weight.
Yeah.
Make it a lot more difficult.
Yeah, exactly. You got to make the movie work somehow, right?
True.
It's the power of the hand, bro.
So then immediately after he kills the cops, Penub and Mick are ecstatic and they're kind of like hyping him up. They're fucking clapping. Penub says, go, go, Buffalo, which is another weird part. Because, like, why would they encourage their boy to murk people? Mick and Penub just kind of start gassing him up, fucking with them a little bit. And then Anton just starts yelling at his hand, and he's like, I can't keep doing this. And then while he's staring at his hand, he gets this, like, weird-ass fucking look and starts smiling. And then he runs off camera. And Mick and Penub follow him to the kitchen, where he pulls out a fucking bagel cutter. And it's like a little mini guillotine.
Yeah.
And he puts his hand to the motherfucker. So, and then he before he pushes the fucking blade down, I think Penub says, that thing won't even cut my fucking bagel. So he slams it down and the metal bends, right? So that doesn't work. So then after that, he tells Mick, he's like, hey, go get the electric cutter. Yeah, so he tells Mick to grab it. And Mick kind of starts fucking off with it. And he's like, look at me, I'm Leatherface. And then he pulls it out of the wall, right?
Yeah.
I thought he cut the cord because he like pulls out the cord like that and there's like no plug-in on the other end.
I can't remember what the fuck he did to it. I was wondering why they just didn't plug it back in.
That's what I was wondering too. But if you cut the cord, it makes sense.
So then Anton ends up deciding to go with I called it a chopping knife. Is that what it is?
Butcher knife?
Butcher knife is just a long ass knife, I thought.
Fucking meat cleaver?
A meat cleaver.
Cleaver.
So Anton goes with the fucking cleaver. And he starts trying to fucking whack at his hand, and his hand keeps ducking the fucking strikes. So what he ends up going with is he grabs fucking Penub's head. And by the way, for this part, when Penub was on the counter, did you guys like... I'm pretty sure like it was literally like a hole cut in the counter. And he was just fucking... They put his head under it. And he was just like talking to him while his fucking neck was sticking out. Which was cool. I like that. It didn't look fake.
Yeah.
Like, I can kind of tell because, you know, that's why he was just stationary in one spot because he couldn't move, obviously. But so he ends up grabbing Penub's head and he tells him to bite down on his fucking hand so he could fucking chop his fucking hand off, which he does. Cuts the motherfucker off. He starts screaming. And somehow Mick comes out of nowhere with the magical hot iron that's already burning hot.
It's unplugged.
And he
already.
cauterizes his fucking hand. That's a real thing, right? You cauterize a wound?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But unless the iron was running for all those days that his parents were dead.
That's what I'm saying, because that's even what I noted, the magical iron that's already burning hot. So then the friends say, so Anton's kind of chilling there now with his fucked up hand. Is this one the part where he puts the trash bag over it already? They cauterize it and then they put a trash bag on it?
Oh,
Yeah, he starts wrapping it.
So now he's just got a nub where his fucking hand was with the trash bag. And Mick and Penub say they're going to go back across the street and they're going to get burritos and antiseptic. All right, so now they dip out and Anton's just alone in his kitchen. And then he kind of just hears some weird noises. Oh, and he sees blood on the floor that spells out, bad move, Anton. So Anton ends up grabbing the fucking meat cleaver, and the doorbell rings, and it's Molly. And she's in a fucking angel costume. It's very nice. And it's at this point that we see the severed hand crawling on the door frame above him. And the hand jumps off and grabs his face. So Anton's struggling with the fucking hand in his kitchen as Molly's knocking on the door. And Anton ends up throwing the hand in the microwave and turns it on and microwaves the hand. And the skin starts bubbling, turning black. Blood shoots all over the microwave. Shit was dope. And I think they did that because, like, the movie wouldn't be that exciting, like, if it was just a regular fucking hand walking around. So they had to definitely, like, ugly up the hand to make it look more like Satan's hand. So Anton goes outside to see Molly. And, he tells her that the reason he looks the way he does, missing a fucking hand, more blood, fucking all that shit, he says it's Halloween costume. And he tells her to go ahead and go to the dance without him and he'll meet her up there. So Anton tells Molly to go to the dance ahead of him and that he'll meet her there. And while they're talking outside, Mick and Penub get back with the meds and the food. So at this point, I think Mick says he gets tired of Penub having to fuck around with his head. So he picks his head up and he takes some cooking utensil.
He stabs the bottom of the head, pretty much putting like on the steak, and then after that he just sticks that into the body.
Yeah, so he pretty much puts his head on a steak on his cooking utensil, and then he impales that into the body to hold him there. And then they open the microwave to cook their burritos in the fucking... Actually, they see that there's blood all over the fucking microwave. And Penub is like, hey man, that's pretty dirty. You think we should clean it? And then Mick looks at him and he goes, yeah, you know what? And while we're at it, let's just clean the whole fucking house. I laughed my ass off on that part.
Yeah, me too. I loved that.
So they open the microwave, hand fucking launches out of the fucking window immediately. And they both kind of just look over and just shrug it off and go back to cooking the burritos. So the friends start trying to eat the burritos, and the burrito starts dripping out of Penub's neck. Starts kind of oozing out through the fucking crevices from where it was severed. So Mick has this idea to bust out some duct tape and just put duct tape around his neck to keep the fucking meat from coming out, I guess. So after this, is that when Anton comes inside And they're about to get another burrito out of the microwave. And right when they're doing that, he's like, wait, don't open it. Not realizing that they had already let the hand out. So then he says something to him. Like he starts kind of being a smartass to him.
Yeah, he said, sorry, there's only two. We only found 2 burritos.
Yeah. Because then they're trying to talk to him and he's like pissed off about the hand. And then Penub's like, yeah, well, fuck you. He's like, all right, then fuck you. So now Anton's outside looking for the hand. Oh, yeah. And he says, have you seen, when he's asking him for the hand, Penub goes, yeah, try looking up your ass. This movie is just full of one-liners, dog. So the next scene is fucking Randy at a bowling alley. And he runs into Debbie, who's played by Vivica Fox, by the way. Either you guys into Vivica Fox?
Yeah.
Not for you?
Not for me.
So he walks up to her, and do you guys remember his pickup line?
He said, are you looking for a ball? He said, because I could find the perfect one, or the perfect fit for you.
Yeah.
Some shit like that. Yeah.
He said, are you looking for a ball? Because I could find the perfect fit for you. So she says, why not? And Randy has 2 friends that are with him at the bowling alley. And he tells them, don't you guys got a dance to go to? So his 2 friends dip out. And then we have a cutscene at this part of the hand like crawling up the street, just crawling away. So then he tells Debbie, or Randy tells Debbie while they're at the bowling alley, tell me a little bit about yourself. And what she says is, I come from a long line of druidic priestesses that hunts a demon that possesses the laziest motherfucker it can find. And when she's mentioning she's looking for a possessed hand, Randy goes, hey, my boy Anton's been talking a lot about his fucking hand. So she's like, take me to him. And so then we cut back to Anton outside looking for the hand outside, and he sees on a fence written in blood, she's mine. So now he knows the hand is looking for Molly, right? So Anton tells his boys, hey, let's go to the dance. And Mick tries to stuff his little fucking asthma bowl with the fucking some bud. And Anton tells him, nah, man, that's not me anymore. So again, we have character growth. So Anton and his boys run from the house as Debbie and Randy are pulling up in his truck. Or no, in the RV. How the fuck did he get to the bowling alley? So he rode with them, that couple, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And then he just assumed old girl was going to give him a ride.
Well, like, after he sent them away, because she said, why not? Pretty sure he assumed then, but... Yeah.
I mean, how do you just assume you're going to get to leave the bowling alley with her? You guys got that kind of confidence?
No.
Nah.
That's definitely no. Would you feel that confident?
No, probably not. But then again, I mean, you come up with a pickup line like that, I guess you got to know what you're doing. So Anton and his boys decide to fucking jack Randy's truck. Keys are in the fucking visor or somewhere really obvious because they turn the truck on pretty easy. So Debbie gets out of the truck. She's running after him, holding onto a book, stands right behind the truck, and they fucking back her ass over and launch her across the fucking street and pay it no mind whatsoever. So then they just drive off as Randy approaches. And Randy goes to fucking Debbie's unconscious body, and he kind of gets on the floor like if he's going to check if she's alive. And then he has this really fucking creepy ass grin, and he kind of looks left to right, and then he starts doing mouth to mouth. And then she wakes up immediately after, so it shows that she's okay.
She said that he had puke breath.
She said barf breath.
Barf breath. Yeah.
I don't remember him throwing up at all.
Me neither.
So
I don't either, so I guess his breath just sucked.
I guess so, yeah. I was wondering, I was like, because I started thinking to myself, I was like, when did he throw up? I remember that, and then I was trying to think back, like, way back in the movie.
And also, whenever someone gets hit by a car, you do mouth to mouth first. Everybody knows that. Check their breath size. Make sure they're even.
Yeah, so like the look that Randy like gave, I thought that it was gonna be some shit like that.
Like
I thought it looked like he was gonna do some creepy ass shit.
He did.
He did look like some creepy shit. But all he did was CPR.
I mean, there were no chest compressions, so what?
That's
He
true.
was just trying to like
He just
kiss
wanted
her
to.
in a way. Yeah.
So the next scene is it's 2 young kids making out in a foggy ass car. And while they're making out, I was about to say while we're making out. While they're making out, the camera's in the back seat, and you see the hand crawling along the windshield. So the girl says that she's hot. She has the dude fucking crack the window. They continue to make out, and then the hand obviously fucking crawls in through the window. And then she takes her shirt off. That pause is for good reason.
Bro,
Those warlocks,
I was just a perfect pair right there.
glorious.
It's very nice.
And the actor, just like in the Collector movie, bro, this guy was committed.
100%.
100%. He was like pinching nipples, all kinds of freaky shit. He was like kissing her belly button and just fucking jiggling them. And then the fucking demon hand somehow, doesn't it like crawl in between her boobs?
Yeah, like right in between both of his hands.
Like he's got a hand on each tit and the hand crawls in the middle and her head's tilted back and his head's down. So neither one of them notices the fucking demon hand.
Yeah, she doesn't notice the third hand on her.
As she's saying, yeah, right there. Yeah. Fuck.
So when the girl finally does notice, she starts screaming and the hand goes to her throat. I'm assuming it strangles her. And then the camera goes to the outside of the car and you see the dude turn around to like try to get out. And then the hand throws his head into the window and then blood just splatters all over the inside of the car. So after the couple dies in the car, Anton and his boys pull up immediately and they just happen to look at that car and see that fucking... Are you guys really like observative people? Because I'm horrible at it. Like if you walk past a car like that at night, would you notice?
Yeah,
I think I would.
I am.
Not me, dude. I'm fucking one-track mind. I'm looking at my own feet and just walking straight. So they see dude's car, they pull the fucking door open and his body falls out. So now they know the hand is there to dance.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is I didn't want to ruin that scene or whatever. But, like, I don't know if you guys seen it, but, like, there was, like blood on his chest. Like, it wasn't on his neck or anything. It was, like, on his chest. As if, like, the hand, like, had impaled his chest.
Penetrated his chest?
Yeah.
Possible.
Because it looks like the hand is getting stronger. I don't know if you guys noticed that. In the beginning of the movie, like, when it was trying to strangle Jessica Alba, it wasn't really, like, hurting her that much. But then when it goes and it's off on its own and it, like, fucking strangles the girl, she dies almost instantly. As if it, like, crushed her neck. But, yeah. So I think
true.
at that point it's strong enough to, like, puncture his chest or stomach, whatever.
Or it could be that since it was attached to Anton, he was able to hold back a little bit. Now that the hand's by himself, he's just can do whatever it wants.
I like that theory.
Fuck you, man.
So then we go into the actual dance, which is happening in their gym, right? And we meet Molly and her friend Tanya, and they're dressed up like an angel and a demon, or the devil. And they're talking about Anton and the band on stage. They're playing I Want to Be Sedated by the Ramones, fire song. So Mick and fucking Penub, they go to the dance, and Molly asks who designed their costumes. And Mick says, I guess you could say Anton did. Did you guys catch that joke?
Yeah. I thought that shit was funny.
And so Tanya asks Penub to dance, and Mick kind of gets left to just kind of stand there awkwardly. And then we get a cut to Anton searching the school hallways. And we see another cut to a guy in an office, maybe the principal, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it said the principal's office on
So
the
it
board.
said principal on it.
Yeah.
And then we see the hand enter over like one of those windows that's over doors in office buildings sometimes.
Like
Is there a word for those?
Older 90s ones.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I don't know the name for it either.
It's a fucking window, man.
You're shit out of luck, guys. There's a window over doors and hallways, all right? That's where it goes in through. And the dude's having a weird ass conversation. Because at first it sounds like he's having some type of business call, it's professional. And then he starts like, if he's talking to a woman, he's like, that's what I like to hear, because you've been a very bad girl and I just want to spank you.
Yeah, because the business part was his card wasn't going through.
Uh-huh.
And then he was like, no. It's this number. He says the last 4 of it. He's like, are you sure you even got the number right? And then he repeats the number. He's like, yeah, that's it. And then he starts talking to her all dirty and shit.
Uh-huh.
It's like when he was like going through like his card not working, I thought it was like him paying for the band or some shit. And then it goes into him saying that he wants to spank her.
Spank her with a ruler.
Yeah. I was like, oh, well, all right.
And he starts saying like, oh, it's like I could feel you. And as that's happening, that like the scene cuts to the hand crawling up his pant leg. And then it's going like up his thigh, and then he's like, you know what? I think I really can feel you. And he looks down, and the hand just fucking busts out of his fucking zipper. And then once again, the blood splatter thing happens. So we don't know what happened, but blood shoots up to his chest. That's it. So then after this, Anton walks into the principal's office and discovers his buddy. Anton discovers his body. And after this, we see Debbie and Randy get to the dance. And after they pull up, the next scene is the hand in another office with the fucking electric pencil sharpener, sharpening its fucking nails to complete its like heavy metal look. So at this point, it's gone completely like Satan's hand. And yeah, so now the hand has like fucking claws pretty much. And after this, Anton's still in the hallways and he runs into Debbie. And she tells him like, hey, I can help you. And he's like, what do you mean? She busts a fucking giant ass fucking knife out. She's about to try to stab his ass. And they wrestle in the hallway. She's on top of him, about to stab his ass. He's holding onto her hand, right? I think he bites her so he can get away.
Oh, yeah, he bites her, and then she drops the knife.
And then he gets up, and then Randy starts to beat his ass. And then he grabs him, and he's holding him still so she could stab him. Was she going to murder him?
Yeah.
Or just the hand?
She said that she had to kill the vessel or some shit like that.
Host, vessel, something like that. Yeah, whatever.
And at first, Randy was against it. But then, I don't know, that like confused me at first, because he's like...
At first he's saying, that seems excessive, doesn't it? And then he just says, you know what? Fuck it, we're here. Let's do this.
Starts trying to like hold him so that she could stab him.
So she's about to stab him, to stab Anton, and Anton shows his fucking nub. And she's like, where's the hand? He says, I cut it off. And she's like, that's a really dumb fucking idea. So then Anton tells Debbie that he thinks the hand wants Molly. And that's when Molly says, like, well, the hand wants to take a soul to hell at midnight, so it's probably fucking Molly. So after this, they go back to the gym, right? And, like, did you guys catch that whenever they went into the gym, that the fucking double doors, the hand was on the doors as they pushed into it?
Yeah.
So they bust through the door, and Anton runs on stage, shoves the singer out of the way. And he starts pretty much trying to tell everybody word for word what happened, which out of context makes zero fucking sense. Like, it'd be the equivalent of like some dude busting in my front door right now saying, my hand's trying to kill you.
Before going any further, my question is how did that hand crawl up walls and all that? Like if it was some sort of Spider-Man type of thing.
Satan.
It's a demon hand.
Just levitated?
Demon hand, bro, could do whatever it wants.
Yeah.
Got Spider-Man powers when he cut it off.
He could grow like butt cheeks on the back of it, bro, and start shitting.
Some odd shit.
What if like a
No.
what if like a mouth would have appeared on the fucking palm? That'd have been tight.
That would have been a little better. Would have made more sense on the blood splattering.
It was random that it could like walk on walls and shit.
I just figured it was a demonic hand. It could do more.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many rules we can apply to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's already cut off and walking on its own.
That is true, bro. You're bothered by the fucking severed hand walking. How can it walk on walls, though, dog?
Yeah, it's a hand.
Bro, I just seen it. I was like, man, this movie's fake as fuck.
So Anton's on stage trying to warn the crowd. And eventually, and nobody believes him. They're all kind of annoyed that the music stopped. So the singer comes back and kind of shoves him off of the mic. And what was he going to say? Was he like, are you guys ready to rock?
I think so.
And then the hand falls from the rafters onto the top of his head and tears his fucking entire scalp off in one pull. Glorious. Everybody starts freaking the fuck out. Mayhem is happening in this gym. And then the hand's back up on the ceiling and the rafters. And it starts using its new claws to cut a rope that's holding the lights up. The lights fall on top of some people. Beautiful moment. And in the middle of all the chaos of while the whole crowd's like running around, bumping into each other and shit, Molly's friend Tanya decides the place we gotta go, guys, is the vents. Everybody knows when shit's cracking off, you crawl into the fucking vents. And her rationale is, hey, either we get trampled or we go into the vents. I'd rather get trampled than go into the fucking vents. You look like a guy that would advise us to go to the vents.
That wouldn't be
It's
me.
just because he fits.
That would not be me.
Or like, we gotta hit the sewers.
I'll take the sewers any day.
Yeah, but I had problems with that, like, rationale. So they go into the fucking vents to try to escape, the crowd, and the hand follows them in. And Molly and her friend end up reaching, like, a dead end at the end of the vents, where it's like a pocket. And the only way out is a fucking fan that's spinning on the floor that leads to, like, the regular hallways. So Molly ends up using her friend's shoe to fucking jam the vent, or jam the fan.
Yeah.
And then she takes her, whip that came with her devil costume and ties it to a pipe. And she uses that to shimmy down the fucking, out of the vent into the school. Then we see Mick and Penub have also followed them into the vent. But I think they're in between the hand and them. So it's the females, the hand, and then Mick and Penub are behind the hand. So Molly's already jumped out of the vent. And now she's waiting for Tanya to come down. But she's bitching out. I'm not going to lie. I'm not good with heights either.
Hell no.
I think it's more that I weigh 300 pounds, and if I jump from like further than 3 feet up, there's a chance my ankles shatter.
I mean, she had the rope to climb down. I don't know.
I think given the situation, bro, you just saw a hand tear some dude's scalp off. I'm fucking jumping. It's pretty easy. In that specific moment. Or would you guys take a second too?
Bro, I would be more scared at the fan starting again than the heights.
That'd be my biggest fear on that one.
So while Tanya's up in the vent still, Molly's trying to talk her down. Then all of a sudden the rope starts to rise back into the vent. And Molly's like, why are you pulling the rope back up? And Tanya's like, I didn't pull the rope back up. And then the fucking rope comes around and lynches her, ties up around her neck. And then Tanya falls out of the vent, getting strangled or getting lynched. And then the hand pulls the fucking shoe out of the fan. Tanya the rope gets caught in the fan as it's spinning, so she slowly gets pulled up, and then she gets massacred, fucking diced up.
So you would think when that was happening, the fans would just cut the rope, right?
That's what I was thinking.
Ooh.
But it literally just tangled up, but somehow it didn't cut the rope, but it cut her.
Well, it would start slow. That initial wind up.
I mean, either way, you see somebody dangling from a ceiling, being strangled. The first, you don't stand there and tell them to get the rope undone. You grab their legs and hoist them up a little bit so that there's not as much pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
But instead of doing that, because she was smart enough to jam the fan with her shoe, fucking tie the thing around so that they wouldn't get hurt from the fall. But she wasn't smart enough to grab her so that she could take some of the pressure off of the rope and untie herself. Yeah.
I think this was the most creative kill, in my opinion. What'd you guys say?
So far, favorite kill in this movie is definitely the saw to P-Nub.
Oh, when the saw cut his head off in the stairs?
Mm-hmm.
Most creative, definitely.
So after Tanya dies, Molly runs, and she hides in the art room. And the second she walks into the art room, a fucking pot falls on her head. Was that the hand? It'd have to be the fucking hand, right?
Yeah, it had to be.
Wait, what fell on her head?
Like a pot. Something glass.
Yeah.
So after this, Anton gets to the part of the hallway to where he finds Tina's remains all over the fucking hall and shit. And then Anton immediately gets to the art room. And he's still looking for the hand. And there's a fucking hand puppet display in this art room. And one of the puppets starts to move in the background, you can see while he's searching. And so Anton grabs it and he starts wrestling with the puppet. And they kind of fall on the floor, right? And as they fall on the floor, then a different puppet completely. What's the way to describe it? It's like a cartoon character, right?
I don't know. That puppet gave me
It was a goofy ass looking puppet.
It looked like one of the puppets from Puppet Master a little bit.
Isn't it weird how they went out of their way to kind of deck the puppet or deck the actual hand out, make it look all freaky and demonic, and then they put that goofy ass puppet on it at the end.
Yeah,
it didn't look intimidating. It looked fucking silly, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it had big cartoon eyes. It had the Homer Simpson hair that looked like it was thinning, come back. So Anton wrestles the puppet again, and this time he manages to trap it under his foot. He's standing on the actual puppet so the hand can't get out. And he picks up an ashtray and he's about to smash the fucking puppet, or at least whack it. And then a ceiling tile falls out on top of his head and knocks him down. And Mick and Penub come down. And the hand gets away. So after this, Anton, Mick, and Penub, they go to the school's body shop, right? They're like auto department. Mm-hmm. And when they get in there, Molly's tied to the very top of a car. And the car is slowly rising up. And on the ceiling, there's a fucking giant pentagram painted. So now they're kind of like in a time crunch to stop the hand before the car crushes Molly. And the hand's like holding a lever, right? It's holding onto the lever that's raising the car. Now, first of all, these motherfuckers aren't built to touch the ceiling, right?
No.
There's no way it should touch the ceiling.
No way, no.
But in this movie, it does. So did I say that the car is like, by rising up, I mean, it's in the garage and it's being lifted by, what do you call those? Just a car lift? So the three of them are trying to struggle with this fucking hand that's still wearing the puppet, the goofy looking puppet. And they can't fucking release its grip. So Mick and Penub, they get distracted by a backpack bong that's made of metal.
The bong made out of mufflers and shit.
So made out of car parts.
Yeah.
And I think Penub calls it Mighty Joe Bong.
Yeah.
So Mick and Penub just start taking hits from this motherfucker. And Anton gets an idea. He jumps and cuts in front of him. And he takes a big ass fucking hit. And Molly's still on the car like, you're just going to get stoned with your friends? And so what his plan is he took the big ass hit, went over to the hand puppet, lifted the fucking opening, and blew smoke into the fucking puppet. And smoked the fucking hand out. The puppet's eyes like rolled up in the back of its head. And then the face on the puppet changed also. Whenever it was doing sinister shit, it had like sharp ass teeth. But yeah, so the puppet gets knocked out, falls off the fucking lever, and that stops the car.
Bro, by then too, didn't he rip like her costume off by accident?
Yeah, so even before that, the first thing he does when he walks in there is he tries to tear her down from the car and he like rips her dress. So now she's in like bra and panties.
Best fucking part of the movie.
Penub said that she would win best costume for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Anton's now about to lower the car as the hand like gets up and fucking lunges at him. And he looks like he grabbed something to swing at it. But before he even does that, Debbie comes in with Randy and she just fucking chucks the knife right at the hand and catches it in the middle of the air. And the knife actually flies into Mick. And then it does this like really underwhelming explosion.
Just a little poof.
And even Mick's like, that's it? No fire, no nothing? Like it looked like a little fucking, like a really shitty firework. I guess that'd be the best way to describe it.
Well, I think that moment right there is the definition of anticlimactic.
So then after this, Lakir says, well, I guess it's time for the ritualistic sex. And her and Randy kind of just dip out of the room. And I think either Mick or Penub, somebody says marijuana saves the day again. And then Anton and Molly are making out directly under the lifted car. Did you guys think that like that was a stupid idea from the get-go?
Yeah, that's pretty fucking dumb.
So you've been in like body shops a couple times, right? Mm-hmm. Is that just like a common thing? Like you don't really stand under the car?
No,
Or-
that's the reason why you have car lifts, so you can stand under the car instead of having to.
I know, but even while it's lifted, are you not, is like the thought in your head, like I probably shouldn't just casually stand under this fucking car?
No. No, at least like I said, for me, I feel safe with those. Now, if it was just a regular jack and all that, then I'm a little iffy.
So Molly backs up as Anton's still under the car, and either Mick or Penub accidentally bump into the fucking lever, and the car just drops all at one time. And personally, I thought he died, because why the fuck wouldn't he? So Anton gets crushed under the car, and Penub says that dropped way fucking faster than it should have. And then the garage door opens up on its own, and there's a bright ass fucking light beaming in. So we're assuming that it's fucking heaven, or the lights, the bright lights you walk into. And Mick and Penub, they just say, you know what, fuck it. And before they go though, they turn around, they look back at the camera, and they say, "Are you coming, Anton?"
Not gonna lie, I thought you were gonna see Anton coming out, and especially like he was just standing. I thought they were gonna show him just like kind of squished like that, kind of like a
Yeah, I thought
like
the
a
same shit.
slinky type of thing, just looking all funny. Disappointed.
So then the camera cuts, and we're at a hospital now. And it's Anton Wright in a full body cast. And Molly's feeding him food, and he's just kicking it. And you guys realize that's what he was talking about earlier with his dream?
Yeah.
He's got some hot chick just feeding him.
Oh,
And Molly says, I can't believe you blew off heaven for me. So maybe he did actually have the option to die, but he just chose to stick around. So then the nurse comes into the room, and like when the nurse comes in, at the same time, we see Mick and Penub come back. They like walk through the wall, and they're like all silhouette-y and shit. And they got like little baby angel wings. And only Anton can see him though this time. And he's actually talking to him, and they think that he has like a concussion or some shit. So then he's alone with both of them at some point because Molly and the nurse leave, and Mick and Penub tell Anton that they're now his guardian angels. And then they'd say they're gonna go grab some food or some shit, and they ask him, do you want anything? And he tells them, yeah. So then they're leaving the room, and as they're leaving the room, one of them says, make sure you hit the lights. Then they hit the fucking lights off, and Anton's just laying in his bed still, and he looks up, and he sees in glow-in-the-dark paint again, I'm under the bed. And the last scene of the movie is Anton screaming in the background as Mick and Penub are walking up the hallway saying, should we tell him that we painted that shit on the ceiling? And that's credits.
That was my favorite part of the movie.
it was.
Just the end?
Not gonna lie, there was like 3 parts in that movie that made me laugh. And it was that one, the one when Ant was spilled on the floor, and then what was the other one? I think it was like when they were in the kitchen. It's kind of hard to remember this movie for me. Forgot what they said. I just remember it was those 3 times I laughed, and that was it.
So, overall, you didn't like it?
No.
I appreciated it for what it was, And I don't know if I would ever watch it again, but I didn't mind watching it.
I think I would. I mean, obviously, I've seen it a fuck
I
ton
was
of
gonna
times.
say, I think you've proven that you would.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to describe because, like I was saying, like this movie. Now that I'm watching it from like an analytical perspective, like I'm actually thinking about it, it really didn't know what it wanted to do. Like it didn't know if it wanted to be serious, if it wanted to be funny. It like kind of just hovered right in the middle of both and never really picked a tone.
But all in all, like, so when I started seeing the goofy stuff and all that, I definitely couldn't take it serious at all.
Like it wasn't quite, because here's what I was thinking. So I said what I compared it to. It reminded me of a lot of like Bride of Chucky, the Evil Dead movies, but it was never full on Shaun of the Dead. It was never Tucker and Dale versus evil. It never made that full commitment to being like an actual comedy. It was more like a horror movie where the characters were just kind of goofy.
When it came down to at least Bride of Chucky and all that, like I actually enjoyed those movies a little more because there was some comedic relief in it, but there was still some fucked up parts in it. The same thing as Scream too. The Scream movies, the way I see them, I don't know if that's what they were meant to be. Is like they just weren't meant to be taken like completely serious.
When I think of Scream, bro, I think that's a completely serious movie.
Really,
Yeah,
they did a lot of dumb things, especially in 4.
I don't even remember the 4th one.
For real. They just did a lot of stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm seeing this more as a comedy. I think it's even considered horror comedy.
Maybe. I think it's just that one character is kind of goofy.
Yeah.
No, so I talked about it for a second, but like, what was your guys' favorite death scene in this movie? You said for sure Penub. Same for you?
No, I liked like the most I don't know, the girl with the fan. I think that was the most creative one.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked watching Mick walk around with the bottle sticking out of his head.
I think the mom's death was pretty savage.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
Where she gets like yanked under the bed and the bed starts like jumping and blood fucking squirts out.
Yeah, that was definitely a good one. Like I said, when you first seen that and all that, it made you think it's gonna be a scary movie.
You know, I remember even when I was younger, watching this like as a kid, that watching the actor have to do like the shit with his hand. That was like impressive to me. I was like, man, that's got to be hard as fuck to pretend like your hand's possessed.
Do you still feel like that?
Fuck yeah, nigga. Could you do that?
I know I couldn't.
Like, and actually make it look legit?
Yeah, no.
Francisco's like, I do it all the time with my hand.
Oh, like I say, it's got its mind of its own.
So I like watched a documentary, not a documentary. I think it was like the special features on the DVD, and how they did like the CGI on Penub's head and shit, all the different practical effects they use. Like I was saying, when his head was on the kitchen counter, and I actually I liked it. Like considering how old it is, I think it all looked fucking fire. And I think whenever the hand, once it they severed it and it was literally just the hand on the screen, they used the same actor from the Addams Family movies that did Thing. Like 100%, that's how they did it. And the guy's like a hand actor or something. I thought that was kind of cool. Like I said, I think a lot of it for me was the nostalgia. Like when I think of like 90s movies, this one's kind of like one that sticks out for me. But like you guys, you haven't seen it before, so it's hard for you to relate to that.
Yeah.
But I put this up there with like 13 Ghosts, House on a Haunted Hill. This is just one of those movies that I saw like a bunch of times as a kid.
I'm curious on that 13 Ghosts one.
It's a good one.
I'll check it out.
I've had hella people tell me they want to do the podcast for that one.
For that one?
Nah, but so, why didn't you like the movie?
I didn't find it funny. Like I said, the only 3 parts that made me laugh were just those 3 parts. And as far as it being even a little bit creepy, nothing. Only the first part. Like I said, opening credits and then the intro. It was perfect for me. I thought it was gonna be a good movie. I was like, all right, cool. And even though like it would have gone on to being a funny movie, kind of like that, like at least kind of like what you're saying is like either be funny or be scary. But there is like there was no in between with that one, and that's why like in the beginning I compared it to like a scary movie, just less funny. Like I actually like scary movies. Obviously they're kind of dumb and all that, but I enjoy them. Mm-hmm. Compared to this one, I couldn't find funny.
It was definitely really stoner specific comedy. So if you were to rate it from 1 to 6, what are you going?
1. And the only reason why I'm giving it 1 is for Jessica Alba. Otherwise, I'd be like, no.
I'd go 2.
You go 2?
Yeah. Like, I liked it. I appreciated it for what it was, but it's not something that I would watch again.
So what would you say are like your strongest positive feelings for it, and what are your strongest negative feelings for it?
I liked the comedy in it. But that's about it. Some of the death scenes were alright, but I don't know.
So what pulled the number down in your opinion?
It's the whole premise of it being a hand that's the villain, you know?
It's almost like a joke, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you guys ever seen Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
No.
Yeah.
You remember the part they watched that horror movie at a sleepover, and it's called The Foot?
No.
And they're watching, like, it's like they're supposed to be watching the movie, but it looks like a trailer. And it's just different, like, images of, like a couple laying in bed, and they're both looking at, like, their feet sticking out from the blanket, and they look down, and they see, like, a 5th foot. There's one part when, and then once they see the 5th foot, they both start yelling, and you just see, like, the foot fly across the screen, and one of the toes goes up the bitch's nose. And every time in between each cut, the screen goes, like, the foot. But, yeah, so I get what you mean. Like, it's a silly concept, for sure. So you rated 2, you rated 1. Mm-hmm. I think I would go 2 if I hadn't seen this before, and I liked it.
So, I guess what I would ask is, like, just think of, like, when you very first saw, like, way back then. What'd you think of that?
I loved it when I was a kid. But like I said, I'm like under 10. So I'm like 8 or 9. Because it came out in 99, so I'd have been 7. But yeah, so as a kid, man, I love this fucking movie. Because like I said, the humor worked for me at the time. It was just scary enough to still scare me as a kid. I even thought the hand puppet was creepy, I think, when I was little. So... yeah. Like I said, I think I'm going 3 just because, like you guys said, like I see its flaws. I don't think it's perfect, but my personal feelings towards it gives it a 3. 2.5 hours in again, boys. Good job. So what are we doing the next time?
You want to try that one I was telling you?
Which one?
Hell House.
Hell House LLC?
Yeah.
You want to do a legit scary movie, friend?
I can, yeah.
You might not even think it's scary.
No, this one. Well, I don't know. Like I said, this one actually creeped me out.
And you know nothing about it?
Nope.
Glorious. It might actually creep you out, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, especially the fact that it's a Heidi's documentary.
It's found
Yeah.
footage.
Yeah, found footage. That's what makes it creepier.
But anyways, we're going to go ahead and close this one up, guys. So I want to say thank you to Josh and Francisco for being here with me and for possibly burying me outside of their window one day. And I'm really digging into the Facebook page right now, guys. So if you go there and like it, you'll get all the links, all the updates. There's more information on what's happening going forward. But this is the Death Taco Podcast. Thank you.